Have you ever felt like your choices in a game didn't really matter? In the world of RPGs, the illusion of choice often leaves players questioning the impact of their decisions. Today, we dive deep into whether choices in role playing games hold true meaning or if they are just a facade. RPGs are designed around player choices, promising different outcomes based on decisions made. However, many titles follow a linear path that diminishes the weight of these choices. This creates a false sense of agency that can be frustrating for players seeking a more immersive experience. Take The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt as an example. Its branching narratives allow for different endings based on player choices, yet the core story remains largely the same. This raises the question, do our choices truly alter the fate of the characters, or do they only serve to change the scenery? In contrast, games like Mass Effect create a more tangible impact through their choices. Players carry their decisions across multiple titles, affecting relationships and character arcs. But does this depth truly translate into meaningful player agency, or is it merely an illusion crafted by the game developers? The illusion of choice often stems from the developer's desire to enhance player immersion. By presenting choices, players feel more connected to the narrative. However, when the consequences are minimal, it can lead to disillusionment and a lack of emotional investment. Moreover, many RPGs exhibit a trend of moral choices where players must decide between right and wrong. Games like Fable present a clear dichotomy, yet these moral choices often lack depth. This simplistic framing can overshadow the complexity of real life decisions that are rarely black or white. In games like Detroit Become Human, player choices lead to vastly different outcomes. But are they meaningful or just a means to showcase a branching narrative? Do players feel truly responsible for their choices, or are they simply following a scripted path that appears to diverge? As we analyze the consequences of choices in RPGs, we must consider the role of player agency. Are we architects of our own stories, or merely passengers in a pre-designed experience? The answer lies in the balance between meaningful choices and narrative constraints. The concept of choice is often tied to the player's sense of empowerment. However, when the outcomes are predictable or revert back to the main story arc, it can undermine that sense of empowerment. Players may feel manipulated rather than liberated by their decisions. Examining Life is Strange, we see how choices lead to significant consequences. Yet, the rewind mechanic can diminish the weight of these decisions, allowing players to undo mistakes. Does this mechanic enhance the experience or dilute the permanence of choice? The impact of narrative choices can also be seen in The Last of Us. Here, moral decisions often lead to tragic outcomes, making players reflect on the cost of their actions. This type of storytelling provides a weight that can resonate deeply with players, contrasting with games that offer superficial choices. Ultimately, the success of an RPG often hinges on how effectively it can weave meaningful choices into its narrative framework. A game that successfully integrates player agency and impactful decision-making stands out, while those that rely on illusion often fade into obscurity. In conclusion, while choices in RPGs can create immersive experiences, the question remains, are they truly meaningful? The balance between narrative direction and player agency is delicate, and understanding this dynamic can enhance our appreciation for the art of storytelling in games. So, what do you think? Are the choices you make in RPGs meaningful or merely an illusion? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss the fascinating intersection of choice and narrative in gaming. Consider the choices in games like The Witcher 3. Every decision you make impacts not just the ending, but the world around you. Characters remember your choices, shaping their interactions and responses. This adds layers to the narrative, making it feel alive and reactive. But is this true agency or merely an illusion? In contrast, games like Mass Effect offer a branching narrative that seems rich on the surface. However, many players note that key decisions often lead to similar outcomes. This can lead to frustration, leaving players to wonder if their choices truly matter. Moreover, games like Skyrim provide a vast open world filled with choices. However, some argue that the overarching narrative can feel disconnected from individual actions. Are you really shaping the story or simply wandering through a sandbox? The illusion of choice can also be seen in horror RPGs like Until Dawn, where decisions lead to survival or death. The stakes feel high, but can a player really feel satisfied knowing their choices are ultimately leading to a predetermined outcome? Additionally, consider how games like Detroit Become Human lay out a web of choices that lead to multiple endings. Here, player agency is emphasized, yet some critiques argue the emotional weight of these choices can be undermined by the sheer volume of options available. The mechanics of choice in RPGs can also be influenced by player expectations. When a game advertises choice as a key feature but fails to deliver, the result can be a disconnection from the narrative. Players might feel cheated out of meaningful experiences. Examining the impact of narrative decisions highlights how they can resonate with players on a personal level. Choices that align with a player's values or ethics can lead to a more satisfying experience, reinforcing the illusion of choice as something meaningful. Conversely, choices that feel arbitrary can detract from the narrative experience. When a player realizes their choice had no real impact, it can lead to disengagement. This raises an important question. How can developers create more impactful choices? The evolution of RPG storytelling has led to innovative gameplay mechanics aimed at enhancing player agency. Titles like Disco Elysium push boundaries by focusing on dialogue and choice, allowing players to explore their character's psyche deeply. In addition, games like The Outer Worlds implement humor and satire to critique the illusion of choice itself. By doing so, they invite players to reflect on their experiences and the authenticity of their choices in a fun yet thought-provoking way. However, the complexity of player choices in RPGs also brings an inherent challenge. The more choices players have, the more difficult it becomes to create a cohesive narrative. This often results in more linear story arcs disguised as branching paths. Furthermore, player investment in characters can amplify the emotional weight of choices. In games like Life is Strange, the relationships formed significantly impact how players perceive their decisions, adding layers of meaning to otherwise simple choices. The concept of choice also involves the idea of consequence. In many RPGs, choices lead to immediate outcomes, but may not affect the grander narrative. This dissonance can create a sense of false empowerment for the player. Contrarily, games like the Stanley Parable take a meta approach to choice, deliberately subverting player expectations. Here, the humor lies in the lack of meaningful choice, prompting players to rethink their understanding of agency in gaming. As developers explore the boundaries of player agency, the rise of interactive narratives through visual novels and text-based RPGs showcases the potential for deep engagement through choice. Games like 80 Days allow players to feel the weight of every decision, enhancing immersion. Ultimately, the illusion of choice remains a double-edged sword in RPGs. While meaningful choices can elevate a game, the absence of true agency can frustrate players. Balancing these elements is key to crafting engaging narratives that resonate. Many games now incorporate feedback systems, where players' choices are acknowledged in subtle ways. This can reinforce the sense of agency, allowing players to feel as though their decisions are woven into the fabric of the story. Analyzing the choices in RPGs also reveals cultural perspectives on morality and ethics. Different games reflect varying societal values through their decision-making processes, prompting players to confront their own beliefs as they play. As we continue to explore RPGs, the role of player identity becomes increasingly crucial. Players often project their beliefs and experiences onto their characters, further complicating the narrative impact of their choices. The exploration of choices can also lead to unexpected outcomes, as seen in games like Cyberpunk 2077. With its vast choices, Players often face unforeseen consequences that dramatically alter their journey, making each playthrough unique. Finally, examining successful RPGs that balance choice and narrative can guide future game design. Titles that manage to intertwine player decisions with compelling stories serve as benchmarks for what is possible in the genre. In the end, how choices are presented within the context of gameplay can greatly influence player engagement. Developers must consider not only the choice itself, but also how it fits into the broader narrative framework. The future of RPG storytelling lies in understanding and innovating upon the illusion of choice. By creating systems that genuinely reflect player agency, developers can deepen the emotional impact of their narratives. As players continue to seek deeper connections with game narratives, the challenge remains to ensure choices resonate with meaning. Developers must remain committed to crafting experiences that validate player involvement. While the illusion of choice can sometimes disappoint, it also has the potential to inspire creativity within the genre. The exploration of choices can lead to groundbreaking storytelling techniques that redefine how we engage with RPGs. The interplay between player choices and narrative design continues to evolve, shaping the future of RPGs. As we witness these developments, it's exciting to imagine where this intersection may lead us next. Through analyzing the complexities of choices in RPGs, we uncover the myriad ways they can enrich storytelling. As the genre progresses, the dialogue about player agency and meaningful choices will continue to be vital. In the realm of gaming, the conversation surrounding choice is not just about mechanics, but about how we connect with narratives on a deeper level. This emotional engagement is fundamental to our experience as players. Future RPGs may also explore nonlinear storytelling more profoundly, allowing players to craft their unique paths. This could redefine the landscape of choice and consequence, creating a richer tapestry of narratives. Lastly, it's essential to recognize that the essence of RPGs lies in the player's journey. Every choice, whether impactful or illusory, contributes to the overall experience and shapes our adventures within these virtual worlds. As we reflect on the intricate web of choice and narrative in RPGs, it's evident that our decisions hold both power and limitation. What are your thoughts on the illusion of choice? Share your insights in the comments, and let's continue the conversation. As we continue our exploration of RPGs, let's delve into how the illusion of choice affects character development. Characters often react to our decisions, but are these reactions genuinely meaningful or merely scripted responses? This raises questions about the authenticity of our engagement in these narratives. Take Mass Effect as an example. Commander Shepard's choices lead to diverse interactions with the crew. However, do those choices truly alter the story's core? While these decisions create a feeling of agency, they often funnel into predetermined paths, highlighting the paradox of choice in RPGs. Similarly, in The Witcher 3, Geralt's choices affect world outcomes and character fates. Yet, no matter how impactful these choices seem, they often lead to significant but ultimately similar endings. This raises the question, can we genuinely alter the game's fate, or is it all an elaborate illusion? RPGs often utilize moral dilemmas to enhance the illusion of choice. In games like Fallout, players face ethical decisions that can lead to drastically different outcomes. However, these choices can sometimes feel forced, raising the question of whether they truly reflect player agency or just scripted drama. In many RPGs, the illusion of choice serves to create emotional investment. Players care about their characters and the world even if their choices don't lead to truly divergent narratives. This emotional connection can often mask the limitations of player agency, making the experience feel richer than it may be. Consider Dragon Age, where players navigate a tangled web of relationships. The choices made impact character loyalty, yet the ultimate story arcs often converge, demonstrating that even complex relationship dynamics can lead to a sense of false choice. Where is the line drawn between choice and illusion? The impact of player choices is not only about narrative, but also personal growth. Through navigating choices, players often reflect on their values and beliefs. RPGs act as mirrors, showing us our true selves in the decisions we make, highlighting the complexity of moral choices in gaming. Yet, this reflection on personal values often reveals the limits of choice. In many RPGs, the scripted nature of outcomes can feel disheartening. Players may find themselves yearning for real agency, leading to frustration with the constraints set by the game developers. Is this a flaw or a necessary aspect of storytelling? As we ponder these themes, it's crucial to recognize the artistry behind RPG narratives. Developers craft intricate stories where the illusion of choice plays a significant role in engaging players. The complexity of these narratives allows for meaningful exploration of character and theme, even if the choices feel limited. Ultimately, the journey through these RPGs invites us to examine not just the choices we make within the game, but how those choices resonate with us outside of it. Each experience shapes our understanding of agency, consequence, and the narratives we navigate in both virtual and real worlds. In conclusion, while the illusion of choice is prevalent in RPG storytelling, it serves as a powerful tool to engage players. By understanding the limitations and implications of our choices, we can appreciate the deeper narratives crafted by developers. Our engagement with these stories ultimately shapes our perspectives on both choice and consequence. As we finish this exploration of RPG narratives and the illusion of choice, consider your own experiences. How have your choices shaped your journey in these worlds? Share your reflections in the comments below, and let's keep this discussion alive as we continue to unravel the complexities of storytelling in games.